Hello my friends, I am GHondo, and welcome to a new game called Oxygen Not Included. Very similar to Judgment, another game I showed just recently. This one's also a colony survival simulator. The main difference is, though, other than obviously the graphic style being monumentally different and the sense of humor being drastically different, is that this game concentrates more on survival against the elements, whereas Judgment was more survival against demons. So, while there is combat in this game, it's very, very minimal, and even still, I don't think you could actually lose somebody in the combat, even if you wanted to, because the enemies are really just basically like moles. So, nothing to worry about whatsoever. Anyway, let's get in. And it will build me a world here. This one lets you have a little bit more freedom in terms of your characters, in that you are allowed to reroll individuals instead of having to reroll the whole group, like you did in Judgment. And when you gain new people, instead of it just being a random person assigned to you, you'll be given a choice of 3, and then you just pick one. So it's a little more forgiving in terms of that, which also, of course, means I'm going to be doing a whole lot more re-rolling than I normally would with the other kind. But just to go over real quick, they have all different sorts of different professions. Like, for example, miners gain bonuses to digging when they level up. Bodybuilders get strength to help them carry more stuff. Technicians get tinkering so they can repair stuff better. There's also physicians that get medicine. Runners for athletics, so stuff like that. And then they also always start with 1 or 2 positive and 1 or 2 negative traits. Iron Gut is, I mean, it's helpful, I guess, but I've never actually had anyone get sick from food poisoning before, so I don't know how relevant it really is, because most of them have at least a decent medicine score. Interior Decorator, yeah, this one does worry a lot about stress, so I guess it's almost like Darkest Dungeon in that respect, but it's, you know, handled a lot differently. So anyway, we'll not worry about that too much. Let's just go ahead and try and get some decent people here. So Iron Gut's irrelevant. Noodle Arms is terrible because this person's not going to be able to carry anything, meaning they're not going to be very useful as a worker. Alright, Grease Monkey is not bad. That's a huge tinkering bonus. Gastrophobic just means you can't cook. That's not a big deal. Ugly Crier is fine. Just means he creates water whenever he gets really, really, really stressed out. So it's probably the best of the lot. The rest of these don't matter. So, not really a big deal. Oh, and I should also mention that you are allowed to rename people, so if you want somebody named after you, just let me know in the comments. But for now, we'll take Hassan as he is, and let's see if we can fix player 2 here. Uncultured's actually not that big a deal, because it actually is helpful, because it means he doesn't care in the slightest about the decor level. But narcoleptic is really, really, really bad, since the guy will just, like, pass out every once in a while. And the stress response of Vomiter is terrible, because much like the Ugly Crier creates water, this one creates polluted water, which then makes everybody sick, so we're going to try and avoid Vomiters if we can. Well, isn't that interesting? So the bonus one is I can't get sick, and the penalty one is I get sick more often. Somebody's confused. I think we'll just pick somebody else. Okay, so you won't do combat, that's fine. It happens so rarely anyway, it's not really that big a deal. Robust means you're unlikely to get sick, you have stats for everything. You're just an ugly crier, which is totally fine, so we're going to take you. Funny. And let's see what we can get for player 3 here. Quick Learner is decent. Mouth Breather is terrible, because that basically doubles the amount of oxygen this person uses, so that's terrible. Noodle Arms we know we can't handle. Small bladder, really not a big deal. It just means the person goes toilet twice a day instead of once a day. Who cares? Amphibious is nice. Lets them swim around a bit faster. Stress response, a binge eater. Not a big deal unless the reason they're stressed out is that you're low on food, in which case a binge eater is really, really bad. But assuming you keep on top of the food situation, it really wouldn't be that big a deal. So I think we can be okay with that set of people. And what shall we name our colony? Happy Tunnel does not sound like a good name. Regrettable Cantaloupe. Nah. Hapless Abode. Scientific Shack. The Cute League. Yes, that's us. We're the Cute League. Awesome. Alright, let's go. Okay, so this is the basic story. Three of us just woke up, and we're inside of an asteroid. And that's it. That's your story. So, it always starts you off with the printing pod, basically where you come out of, and the printing pod prints a new person basically every 3 days. You don't have to take any of the new people it offers you, but if you want more people, that's how you get them. And it starts you off with a little ration box, which is basically an unplugged refrigerator. So it stores food, but it doesn't keep it fresh. So not that helpful, but it's something to start with. Let's take a look around our initial environment. We have a lot of water up there, some water over here, some plant materials over here to get at. So not a terrible start. Nothing really jumping out at me as fantastic either. Well, let's start right off the bat by giving ourselves some more room to work with. So let's just dig that. Well, let's dig it all the way over to there. That way, and we'll dig all this out this way. That gives us some places to be. For now, I'm going to let everyone do any job they want, even though some people are obviously better at certain ones. So I could shut off certain tasks so that they'll concentrate on the ones they're good at more often, but with only 3 people, I'm not overly worried about it, so let's just let them get going and start digging. This stuff here, the oxylite's really cool. It's basically just some kind of metal that spews out oxygen and then decays into nothing. So this digs itself out automatically and provides oxygen while it does. Can't beat that. The bristle briar is a decor plant, and the bristle blossom is a food plant, I think. Or is it? Yeah, it's food as well, so I always get the two of them mixed up, but anyway. Don't want to dig out the oxylite. We'll want it to decay naturally on its own, thus providing us oxygen. Should probably get a storage container going sooner than later. The game is also telling us the first and most important thing. If you look at Judgment, it says you need to build a house with a bed and a food table. Right? That makes sense. This game says the first thing you need, the most important thing you need to build, is a toilet. So yeah. So I guess for now we'll build one right there. We'll get rid of that much later, but for now that'll be a fine place for it to be. Outhouse is done. So, that earth-shattering problem of not being able to go toilet is solved. You'll notice I had asked them to dig this out, and they had, but then it had more stuff on it. Because the sand up here is soft and loose, it fell when they dug out underneath it. It fell and created new requirements for digging. So that's pretty interesting. Lots of copper ore there, which is good. We'll need a lot of that for basic metals. The organics, yeah, that's fine. Okay. For now, we can put anything in there. And we require a food source. We sure do. We can't yet because we don't have enough raw metal. So we need to make sure we're digging out this copper for basic metal. So it doesn't look like there's anything there. There's a bunch up here as well. I think what we'll do is we'll start digging down. Just go ahead and make all that. I'll make the whole thing a proper real floor. Maybe that'll be better. Cut over to here. They'll have access to this water, which we will need for making food. This should, I guess, be over near. Even though it's kind of gross to put your food producer right beside the outhouse. Oh well. When you put tile on top of an existing tile, let me try that again. When you put the base building tile, which is like a basic floor or wall, over an existing part of the map that's got something in it, it automatically does the dig part for you, so you don't have to explicitly say dig it and then rebuild it. They'll do that on their own, so that's kind of helpful. Be nice if somebody actually built this, there we go, microbe musher. Once that's done, able to set a task to make food. Oh, that's right, it requires power. So we need a manual generator, some electrical wire. Can, however, set the recipe. So, requiring nothing but dirt and water to make mush bars. Sounds delightful, doesn't it? Sounds just delightful. Well, I guess it's maybe slightly better than, oops, that's wrong key, than the alternative, which is, it's called lice loaf. So a meal lice compacted into an immobile loaf of lice. It sounds so gross. pretty gross, doesn't it? Right, there we go. We just saw somebody hop on the power generator, and when it calls itself a manual source, it really is. It's basically the guy running like a hamster wheel to generate power. Should probably actually build trying to say a battery. Tiny battery. That way the power stays for at least a little while after he stops running. Which would be very helpful. Digging away, that's generating some nice oxygen. We will want to deal with that soon enough, but I forgot to build them beds, so they'll just be passing out on the ground, which is not really all that good, but that's my fault. I've completely spaced out and forgot to build them beds. Whoopsies. So I guess we will queue those up for tomorrow. It doesn't really matter so much how much space you put between them, if any. But I got used to putting them a bit apart, because the practice game I was playing before, I had 2 of my 3 initial people were loud snorers. So needless to say, the poor bugger in the middle would never sleep, and the other 2 would only sleep for a second before the other one would wake them up, so it was sad times all around. It was very funny, but it was very sad times for them. Should probably speed the game up. There's no need to wait while they're sleeping. There's nothing we can do at night. I do really like the cartoony art style. It's quite nice. Right, we're back up. Complaining they have no access to water yet. And they are right about that. That will give them plenty of access to water once they get over to there. Like how when they're in the outhouse, they look around furtively, like they're expecting to be attacked, and then when they're done, they get this big grin on their face when they come out. Oxy light there. That's good. So once we open this up, that'll give us some more oxygen. Should actually build an actual oxygen building. That'll do. So what that one will do is it will soak up algae, which will, so like we cut it out and then store it somewhere, and it converts that algae into oxygen, which is nice. 'Cause, 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 because while we have a bunch of oxylite, we're fine, because it's generating oxygen. Once those run out, because they are, if you watch them, the weight on them is dropping, because it is being used up. And being used up pretty fast, to be honest, but once those are gone, we'll very soon start suffocating, because we'll have more carbon dioxide than oxygen, which obviously will be really, really bad. And it's on its way, producing air. Now with this thing here, there's not a lot of room to put new air out, so it probably won't run full time until these are completely gone, but... Oh, there's one of the mole things I was talking about. We call them hatches. I guess it's sort of like a part dog, part turtle. I don't know how to really describe it. They're ugly anyway. They dig through stuff and they eat stuff at random. Kind of jerks, to be honest. But they're usually not aggressive. But if they are, they just attack them with their digging tools here. So, usually not a big deal. But they are jerks because they just eat stuff. Okay, so we are bumping up to time control, so I'm going to put a cut in the episode here. Like I say, the characters are renameable, so if you'd like a character renamed, please let me know in the comments what their current name is and what you'd like me to change it to. So, anyway, folks, we'll call it there, so thank you for watching, and until next time, stay calm, and I hope you come and chill with me again in the next video. Thanks for watching.